So, who here has been hypnotized or knows what hypnosis is? A few of you, yep, good. Anybody see stage shows where people act crazy and cluck like chickens and do all that crazy stuff? Yeah, well I won't make you do that. I could, but I'm not going to. Hypnosis is the same thing as that. So I'll tell you a little bit about hypnosis, I'll tell you a little bit about how it works for sports, and then we're going to talk about mindset and the power of mindset and how 90% of the training is mental and 10% is physical. So before you do that, I just wanted to read a quote that I think is so great. It's Zig Ziglar, and he said, "You were born to win, but to be a winner, you must plan to win, prepare to win, and expect to win." Because we all know it is what's going on in the mind. And so there's a few things I'm going to talk about, and things that will change the way you wrestle based on what's going on in your mind. Before I do that, I'll introduce myself. My name is Karen Bird, and I am in Burlington, Wisconsin. I have been a hypnotist for 20 years. I see mostly athletes. I also teach, train, and certify other hypnotists around the world how to work with athletes. So I work with Olympians, youth, high school, collegiate, anything, you name it. Mindset is the same no matter where you go. And I went to Parkside here, so it's kind of fun coming back here and seeing you guys. I actually dated a Parkside wrestler and did a lot of traveling with Kevin, so I know a lot about wrestling. And then of course we had 3 boys that were wrestlers also, and Josh was one of them, and then there's Jared and Jaden. So Jaden went to college in Indiana in Wabash and wrestled for a few years there. So again, I have been working with athletes for many years, and what I've learned is that the physical part, as we know, wrestling is one of the hardest sports, and you guys know it. And I love the phrase that was always in the wrestling room that said, once you've wrestled, everything else in life is easy, because I truly believe it. When I see what it takes to be a wrestler, both physically and mentally, I notice that the mental part is such a huge piece. So as a sports hypnotist, that's what we do. I teach mental training with the added benefit of hypnosis. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about hypnosis, because you're probably all wondering. A few of you know a little bit about hypnosis, and that it's not scary and you won't fall asleep and it's nothing crazy. It's actually using the power of your mind. So right now your conscious mind, the critical mind, is analyzing, critiquing, paying attention to what I'm saying. You're thinking about other things, you're thinking about me, you're thinking about your classes coming up, you're thinking about wrestling, and the mind is going everywhere. It's 95% of the time we're in that conscious mind. It's called a beta state when you look at the brainwave states. So your brainwaves will go something like this in the beta state. As you close your eyes and relax, you go into an alpha state. It just feels relaxing. And then the theta state is the state right before you fall asleep. It's the state where, like when you're falling asleep, you jerk. Any of you ever jerk when you fall asleep? Or you're falling asleep and there's a loud noise and it like scares you. It's actually, that's the same state as hypnosis. So everyone can get into hypnosis. They do it twice a day. And the key is feeling comfortable and safe in your environment. So if you feel comfortable and safe with the person that is hypnotizing you, or practicing self-hypnosis, which I teach to every one of my clients, you can get into the hypnotic state. So right now we talked about the beta state. Mind is criticizing, analyzing, critiquing. The thing is that the conscious mind, the human mind, has a tendency to criticize, critique, and analyze. So what it does is it wants to remember the last time that you lost the match, the last time that you didn't do so well, and it takes true mental training to reprogram the subconscious mind, which is a computer in the back, to stop the negative, to stop replaying the negative, and to create a new blueprint of what it is that the way you want to wrestle instead of the way you don't want to wrestle. So conscious mind is the one I just talked about, and then we have a subconscious mind. The subconscious mind that does the dreaming, the memories, the habits, and the beliefs are back there. Everything that's ever been said to you, whether it was a coach or a parent or something you said to yourself, goes back in the subconscious mind into files. We file it back there, we hide it away, and a lot of times we don't bring it out until something similar happens. And then we bring it out, react on emotion, and it changes the way that we end up wrestling or the way that we are in a certain situation, whether it's a relationship. And so when we can take the conscious mind and relax, we can get back to the files, we can pull out the ones that we want, and then we can recreate the blueprint or what it is that we want instead of what it is that we don't want. Now, most of us don't know how to do that because we don't know how to get ourselves into the state of relaxation and quiet in order to get back to those files. So I'm going to do a little bit where I teach you guys kind of how to do that, and I'll do it with you also in the end so you can create that perfect match, that blueprint of what it is it looks like when you wrestle the way you want to wrestle, and then you can wrestle that way. So when I work with athletes, I work with them typically for about 4 sessions, and we'll create what it is that they want. What are the affirmations? What are the goal statements? There's different things that with mental training are super important. So we'll do goal statements, we do how do you do self-hypnosis, how do you get yourself into that state so that you can then replay what you want, the match that you want to wrestle, and then how do you do that visualization? So I'm going to do a little bit of that with you guys. I don't have as much time today as I do obviously with a client, but I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as I can so I can give you what you need. So in that subconscious mind, it works in pictures. If I were to say to you, think about what you did last night. All of you just think what you did last night, where you were, just for a moment. You all got it? You saw a picture in your mind, right? And that's what happens with everything. So everything you say, everything I say, you're actually creating these pictures in your mind and you don't realize it. But the pictures are the blueprint to the way that we act. It's called the robot theory. Whatever our mind believes and sees, our body achieves. So if you're believing or seeing that you aren't going to reach a certain goal or beat a certain opponent, you're actually already creating that in your mind and you've won or lost before you started. So how do you do that? How do you thought stop? I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about how do you thought stop, how do you change the thoughts, and then how do you change what's going on in the brain so that you can then wrestle the way you want to wrestle. All right. The other thing that subconscious mind doesn't hear is don't, wouldn't, couldn't, should. So if I say to you, don't think of a pink elephant, don't see it in your mind, don't imagine it, you saw a pink elephant, right? I also said don't. Subconscious doesn't hear don't. Doesn't hear I don't get nervous, I don't wrestle with my head down. It doesn't hear don't, when, couldn't, should. It hears that word. So when you're paying attention to the mental talk in your head, make sure it's always positive present tense. Super important, okay? Positive present tense. Your subconscious and conscious mind can't tell the difference between future and present. It doesn't know when you visualize winning nationals or getting to nationals, your mind does not know if it's really happened or not. It's already told you it's happened. And there's this thing called the law of attraction. The more you see something that you want and you believe it and you put it in that brain, in the subconscious state, or really in any state, but more powerful in the hypnotic state, then you start to bring it toward you. And the closer you bring it towards you, the more it becomes your reality. It's really amazing. It seems like magic, but it's not. It's really a law of the universe. So paying attention to what's going on in here is super important in your mind. I want to make sure that I get all the points, so I'm just going to keep peeking at my notes here. All right. What else? What is hypnosis? What is it? It just feels really good. So most of my clients, when I bring them out of hypnosis, we do hypnosis for about 20 to 30 minutes in a session. I'll have them open their eyes, and then I'll open their eyes and say, I don't really want to. Like, it just feels really good to be super relaxed and be in the state of nothingness where you're not thinking, you're not worrying, you're not paying attention to what might happen, what happens later. Because when we think of stress, it typically comes from thinking about what happened in the past or worrying about what's going to happen in the future, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about how do you stay in the moment where you just, right here, right now, I am in this match and that's all that matters. I don't care what happens tomorrow, I don't care what happens in the next match, but if I can stay right here in this moment, right now, I'm going to wrestle the way that I know how to wrestle. Because anyone that's in your space, right here, you guys have probably practiced hundreds of thousands of hours, right? Hundreds of thousands of hours in your lifetime. And when you think about it, do you know most of the tools, most of the skills, and most of the techniques physically that you would need to reach whatever goal you want to reach? Right? There's not many that probably know a whole lot more than you in terms of physically. But what is the difference between winning and losing? It's the confidence, right? It's the confidence, it's the belief in yourself. Because if you had the belief in yourself that the national champion had, you could and should win the championship. You probably would practice better, you would end up performing better, but it's all in here, right? It's all in that confidence and the belief. We're gonna talk about that in just a minute, but before I do that, I wanted to show you guys how the mind and the body work together. So if I can have just maybe, I think there's 6 here, 6 of you, come on up here. I'm gonna do this thing called the pendulum. And it's a really fun way, you guys can just hold one of these medals. Couple more. Really fun way for me to see who's like mostly hypnotizable. Because some people are a little more hypnotizable than others. People that have a real conscious, one more, anyone else? And you guys can just line up here. Who in here is real analytical, good with numbers, analyzes things, overthinks things, critiques?
He's a mathematics major.
All right. You guys are always fun. All right. So what I'm going to have you do, if I can borrow yours for just a minute. Okay. I'm going to have you hold the medal like this between your finger and your thumb, and just with your elbow out, holding it like that. Yeah, I'll leave this. Got that? Okay, go ahead. Okay. Now, I want you to imagine that on the floor, don't look at your medal, just hold your medal still. Look at the floor in front of you. Imagine that there's a circle on the ground about a foot in diameter. All right? And on the top is the letter A, and the bottom letter B. And then on the left of the circle is a C, and on the right of the circle is a D. You guys all got that? So the circle in front of you. A's on top, B's on bottom, C's on left, D's on right. Stare at that circle on the floor, and just imagine as if your eyes and your thoughts are going from left to right, A to B, A to B. So trace the circle back and forth, left to right, A to B, left to right. Your mind, your thoughts, left to right, A to B. Just watch that circle, left to right, A to B. And now imagine you're looking at that circle and you're watching it from C to D, up to down, forward to back. Your eyes, your mind, up and down, forward and back, C to D, C to D. Just watching that circle on the ground, C to D, back and forth and back and forth. Now imagine if your eyes and your thoughts are tracing that circle around and around. No right, no wrong, left or right, doesn't matter, clockwise, counterclockwise. Trace the circle round and round and round. And just imagine your thoughts, your eyes going around and around in the circle. Your thoughts and your eyes. Okay, you guys can look up now. What did you notice happened to your hands? Do you have any idea with your medals?
Probably shape what we're thinking.
Yeah, so the medal went around with the thoughts and the eyes, right? So I originally told you, hold the medal still. In fact, the analytical, yours didn't move quite as much as others, but it still moved, right? So I said hold the medal still. So the instructions were hold the medal still, but as the eyes and the mind and the thoughts went left and right, up and down, and around, so did that medal. So you guys can put those down, thank you. What that proves is that whatever is going on in here, even though I told you to hold it still, the body is still reacting to it. And that's exactly what happens when you guys get in the zone. And the zone is that perfect state, right? The body reacts to whatever is going in here, whether it's from your coach or from you, and you're your own mental coach, right? So can anyone tell me what it feels like or what it's like to be in the zone? What does that mean?
Well, I forgot my hand was getting sore, so I guess that worked.
Oh, okay. You mean when you were doing this?
Yeah.
Okay. But when you're wrestling, what does it feel like to be in the zone? Does anyone know? I mean, of course you know.
You're just super present in the moment.
Present in the moment, right? Not worrying about what's going to happen. You're kind of in flow. You're in ease. Nothing else matters. There's no distractions. You're just in that space of like, it's really a great state, right? So when you're in the zone and you know that you wrestled your best, what does that feel like? What does it feel like when you're finished? Emotionally. Anybody?
Rewarding.
Feels great, right? Rewarding, yeah, you feel happy and proud and victorious and all those wonderful words. And that feels good. And emotions, so most of what we do in life is based on emotion. It's all based on emotion. So when we can take that same emotional state, just think for a moment the last time that you wrestled really well. The last time you either won or you even just had a really great match and you walked off and you were like, yes, I rock. That was awesome. right? You guys all got that somewhere, could have been last year, could be this year. And so you remember what that felt like. It felt really good, didn't it? It felt really good. So if you could take that state with you, and you could bring it to every single match, every time you stepped on the mat, do you think that would serve you? Yeah. So it's about using that state, right? So you can use that state in so many ways. You can use it, you can take a trigger word. You can think of a word that describes a really great wrestler, an Olympian, someone you know, someone on your team, a power word, and anchor that to the last time you felt that state. Thinking about that match or that practice, and then anchoring it to a word. So an example of the word would be amazing, powerful, incredible, lightning speed, unstoppable, unbeatable, phenomenal. Any of those words. So what comes in your mind? Anyone want to share a word? A power word? Come on. Sure, what about you? What's your power word?
Relentless.
Relentless. I love it. I didn't even say that one, did I? So take a word and anchor it to remembering the last time that you wrestled really, really well. If you can take that word and in a quiet state, close your eyes, do self-hypnosis, imagine that match that we just talked about where you felt really great, and put that word with it. When you step onto the mat, if you say that word 3 times, you are going to bring back that state. That's how the mind works, okay? So self-hypnosis, I want to teach you that too. All right, pendulums, by mental tools. I think we talked a little bit about that. Okay. Let's do this. Let's write your contract. All right. So on the back of your cards there, go ahead and write, I am a blank, blank, blank wrestler. And I'm going to have you fill in that. Actually, just do blank, blank wrestler. I'm going to have you fill it in. I am a blank, blank wrestler. You guys need cards back there?
Yeah, I'm gonna grab some more pens quick.
So I am a blank, blank wrestler. And then fill in a couple of those power words. It's not what you believe you are. So if you believe you're a fast wrestler, don't put fast. If you believe you're a strong wrestler, don't put strong. It's what you want to be. It's the future of. So what is it? If you guys need help with this, I can help you with it. So on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being high, where do you believe your confidence level is? 1 to 10, 10 to high, think about it for just a moment. Think about the number. I don't need to know, just think in your mind. How good you believe you are, 1 to 10. Take that number, whatever that number is, let's say it's an 8, maybe it's a 6, maybe it's a 9, maybe it's a 10, awesome. That number, and think about what's in the gap between that number and a 10. So what is it that you don't have that if you did this, you would have a 10 in confidence, a 10 in skill, and you would win? Is it confidence? Is it aggressiveness? Is it speed? Is it consistency? Is it motivation? Is it determination? Is it being relentless? So what is it that would help you to get to a 10? And then that's the wrestler that you want to be. So I am a blank, blank wrestler, and then fill that in. Does that make sense? Does anyone need any help with that? You guys just feel free to ask if I didn't explain that well. And we're going to call this your contract. Is everybody finished with that? Except you guys didn't need pens yet. Maybe you can grab the guys in front of you. All right, does everyone have that complete? I am a blank, blank wrestler. Okay, so what you're going to do with this now is this is called your contract. This is the wrestler that you get to step into. Because right now, if you don't have a contract and you don't have a plan, you might not be sure what kind of wrestler you are. You are literally just going through the motions of going to practice. Yes, you have some goals, and yes, you're working hard, but you're going through the motions of being the best wrestler you can be. When you have a contract, you actually step into that. So anytime that you feel frustrated, disappointed in yourself, not good enough, what's wrong with me, I can't do this is too hard, the negative thoughts, the self-doubt, remind yourself, stop. I am a, and then what kind of wrestler you are, what you just wrote down. I am a strong, aggressive wrestler. I am a relentless, unstoppable wrestler, whatever it is, okay? That's gonna change who you believe you are in your head, because who you believe you are, you are. You have already created that. So what you wanna do is you wanna take this and put it on a Post-it note and put it in your mirror, on your mirror, anywhere, bedroom, bathroom, wherever, and every time you look in the mirror, whether you're here at practice or at home, but every time you look in the mirror, look in your own eyes, and this is hard for a lot of people. Look in your own eyes and tell yourself who you are, and that is your contract. You're gonna shift into that, okay? So put it on a Post-it note and remind yourself. Does anyone wanna share what their contract is? Everybody vulnerable now?
I did this when I was in college, and I had a post-it on my bathroom mirror that said, "I'm a national champ."
I love it. Okay, so that's a goal, right? Yeah, national champ. And so what you do is, when you set goals, you reach goals, right? And when you write those goals, you reach it. So with your contract, it's kind of that way of being. So my contract, here's an example. My contract is, I'm a powerful, loving, giving leader. I set that contract because I teach hypnotists around the world, and I've done a lot of personal work and self-growth work in the last 5 years. And what I realized is that I had this story going on in my head that because I was short and little, and my entire life I had always been told, "You're so cute, you're so little, you're so cute, you're so little." What I believed in my own mind, and this was my limiting belief, is that little cute women can't be strong, powerful, and successful. And so it really took me a lot of time to get to a space of no. And my contract is that I'm a powerful, loving, giving leader, and now I teach hypnotists around the world. And so it was a matter of noticing who is it that I thought I was, why is that, and then setting a contract. And then every time I start to get in the self-doubt or the lack of belief in myself or comparing myself to someone else, I remind myself, no, I am a, and then I go through my contract. So your contract is really, really powerful. Keep that, all right? The other thing is, based on that question I asked you guys about the scale of 1 to 10 and where you are on your confidence level and how good you believe you are, whatever that number was, and then what's in the gap between that and a 10, that's how you write your own goals. Now, when I see athletes in my office, or I see athletes virtually now, but when I see athletes, we will write all of the goals together. So there's usually about 20 of them that we come up with. And I'll ask questions like, what does it feel like when you're in the zone? What's in the gap between that number and a 10? What is it that you could do, should do, make you better? Would you hear coaches say to you that if you did this, you could be better? What would you like to work on? And we'll set goals. But when you guys set your own goals, I encourage you to set all of these goals. I would say 15 of them each, and they're always written in positive present tense. Subconscious doesn't hear try, want, will. Doesn't hear I want to do it, I will try to do it. It hears as if it's happening right now. It doesn't have time and space. Okay, so when you write goals, it's I have, I feel, I am. Always I have, I feel, I am. Okay, as if it's happening right now. And that's how the subconscious hears it. That's what the subconscious will do to replay. All right? Okay, so thought stopping, switch. All right, time. Okay, we're doing all right. Okay, I want to leave at least a few minutes in the end to get you guys relaxed. Thought stopping, super, super powerful. Can someone give me an example of what you might say to yourself that is negative, self-doubt, or something that an Olympian wouldn't say? Some thought that you hear reiterated in your mind. And typically those thoughts are from a parent, a past coach, or even a teammate. And it was something that hurt, something that felt emotional, and you might not even remember why, but something that hurt, felt emotional, something that someone said that you reiterate in your mind that is not helpful. It's not helping you be better, it's hurtful. And those thoughts go through all of our minds. And so can anyone give me an example of something they might say to themselves? Could be something like, I'm not gonna ever make weight, I can't make weight, I'll never beat that guy, he's better than me, what am I doing? Anyone give an example? Yeah.
Just like the thought of losing.
Thought of losing, exactly, just the thought of losing, right? And the thought of losing actually creates the losing. And the reason is, and the thought of something like that, right? So the thought of, I'm not as good as, or I'm never gonna win this match, or look at how big he is, or that ref screwed me, or whatever it is, right? It's that negative thought that releases a hormone in our body called a catecholamine. And when we release a negative hormone, anything negative at all, we release this catecholamine that tightens our body up, because catecholamines are a stressor hormone. So has anybody ever tried to wrestle when they're like super tight? It doesn't work so well, does it? But a positive thought, a contract, which you guys just wrote, or something like, no, I've got this, I'm a national champ, I believe in myself, I'm relentless, I'm amazing, I'm powerful, I'm strong, it releases an endorphin. And endorphins are released when someone says something to us like, you're a really great wrestler, or hey, I like your eyes. It feels good, or after a really great workout, right? Same thing, thoughts, workouts, you release endorphins, it feels good, your body is relaxed, and that's why a great workout feels really good, because you're releasing endorphins. Positive thoughts also release endorphins. So think about it, when you want to wrestle your best, the positive thoughts, the endorphins, are going to help you get a whole lot further than the negative thoughts, which are the catecholamine. So paying attention are super important. And here's, again, what I teach every athlete, and this is super powerful, is when you start to be aware of the thoughts that are going in your mind, you can stop them and you can recreate them. So when you start to be aware that you're saying to yourself anything negative, any self-doubt, anything that an Olympian wouldn't say to themselves, this is what you can do. Take a deep breath. Imagine a stop sign or a railroad crossing in your mind. Choose which one right now. Close your eyes, exhale, and say to yourself, relax. You're now releasing endorphins. And then just tell yourself, I've got this. Or, I've trained for this. Or, I trust my training. Or, I'm aggressive. Or, I'm powerful. Or, your contract. Or, it's just a match, right? It's the now moment. Because what happens is we have a tendency to always be worrying about the future. What happens in the next match? What happens if I don't make this? What happens tomorrow? And so if we can stay in the moment, pay attention to the thoughts, stop the negative, put a roadblock in them, stop sign, railroad crossing, and then replace it with a positive thought, it's going to absolutely change the way you wrestle. All right, so remember that, thought stuff is super important. One more super important technique I'm gonna teach you, and then I'm gonna teach you self-hypnosis and then get you into a relaxed hypnotic state and do a little